The Hudson River extends 315 miles from its source in the Adirondacks at Lake Tier of the Clouds to New York Harbor. New Yorkers appreciate this river for its hiking, swimming, and sailing.
The source of the Hudson is up in the southern high peaks of the Adirondacks. It comes out of a lake called Lake Tier of the Clouds. As it works its way down through the Adirondacks, it picks up a number of different tributaries. As it works its way down through the Adirondacks, it picks up a number of different tributaries and turns into the river that everyone is pretty familiar with down by New York City.
For much of the last 400 years, the Hudson River has been ravaged and abused. Treated as a dumping ground, the river was one of the most polluted in the nation.
Definitely the biggest thing is don't litter. Everything that you throw on the ground just gets put right into the Hudson. That is the biggest, easiest, simplest thing. Is just throw everything in a garbage can.
Despite these threats, we're finding new ways to protect the river. Greening our urban environment will reduce pollution and improve our quality of life. Restoring wetlands will help reverse the decline of fish and wildlife. By closely monitoring water quality, we can challenge polluters and alert the public when it's not safe to swim. Now's the time to turn our vision for the river into reality.
New York today boasts one of the largest natural harbors in the world. But it wasn't always that way. Towards the end of the last ice age, the port's wide entrance was blocked. 16,000 years ago, the melting glaciers left behind a 220-foot-high wall of debris. 16,000 years ago, as glaciers receded, the meltwaters slowly filled up a huge lake geologists call Lake Iroquois. The ice dams holding the waters weakened. Eventually, the dams collapsed, causing sudden and devastating flash floods. The torrent raced towards New York City, 300 miles to the south. The floodwaters smashed into the ancient moraine, the huge pile of debris blocking the direct exit of the Hudson River.
Over the past 500,000 years, 6 ice ages occurred. The most recent began 70,000 years ago. A vast ice sheet expanded to the south, scraping away soft rock and sediment, and depositing enormous amounts of excavated material along the edges of the ice. It took 5,500 years for the ice to melt to where Chicago is now. As it did, cascades of meltwater flowed to the sea, helping to carve the Mississippi River Valley. As the ice melted further, enormous basins excavated by the ice sheet were revealed. Over time, meltwater filled these excavations, forming glacial lakes covering thousands of square miles. The size and shape of these giant lakes changed as the ice sheet melted. Lake Superior is the largest freshwater lake in the world and the first in a series of enormous steps leading water down to the sea. It flows from the southeast corner of Lake Superior down the St. Mary's River into Lake Huron, 23 feet below. Lake Huron connects to Lake Michigan at the Straits of Mackinac, which separate the upper and lower peninsulas of Michigan. These two Great Lakes have the same surface elevation and are considered by many to be a single lake. From there, water flows down the St. Clair River to Lake St. Clair and the Detroit River, which feeds Lake Erie, the shallowest of the Great Lakes. Water flows north from Lake Erie into the Niagara River, where it cascades over the 200-foot cliffs of the American and Horseshoe Falls, known collectively as Niagara Falls. It then enters the fifth and final Great Lake, Ontario. From Lake Ontario, water flows into the St. Lawrence River for the final drop to the Gulf of St. Lawrence on the Atlantic Ocean.